I'm Benett Lauber. I'm with a company called Siteworx, and we're an Adobe partner. So first of all, I want to thank Adobe and Genworth for allowing us to come and speak. That's great. I'm also here with Keith, who's sitting right over here. So you know, you can't really give a talk without first giving your company a little plug, right? You have to. So, you know, Siteworx, we're an award-winning interaction agency. We're based in Reston, but we have offices in Atlanta, New York, Rochester, Raleigh, Chicago. We're growing like crazy. If you want a job, you know, call us. No, please don't. We're hiring like crazy because we're growing. And you know, I've given a lot of talks at user experience conferences, and we're always trying to hire people from user experience conferences. So, no, please stay here at Genworth. It's a great place to work. Okay. Yeah. So, you know, one thing that's different from Siteworx, from a lot of the other agencies that are out there, is that we're kind of in between a digital interactive agency and a systems integrator, and that's why we work with partners like Adobe, and we help them with CQ and getting clients to understand, you know, the benefits of it. And so the talk that I'm going to give today is about personalization and how you can use personalization in your products, your projects, to create a better experience for your customers. And I'm a user experience guy, so I'm all about making a better experience for the customers. And personalization is a really great way to do it. So Forrester had defined personalization this way. I'm not going to read it to you because you guys all... Can everybody see it, or should I read it to you? You can see it. Okay, so Forrester, you know, calls this, you know, making the experience unique to individuals or segments of customers. But at Siteworx, we changed that a little bit, and we want to say we're targeted to customer segments and individual customers. And there's a little bit of a distinction there. How many people have gone to a website before where you've logged in and it says, well, it says, "Hi, Bennett." Well, I'm probably the only one. But, you know, "Hi, Keith." "Hi, you know, hi, Kyle." You know, is that personalization? You know, does that excite you? Like, wow, you know, it knows my name. Bueller? No, I mean, that's not personalization. So, you know, you have to go to a customer segment, a little bit more personalization than just that. So, you know, the data shows that customers actually really like personalization. They like it. The only time they really get freaked out is like when you go on one site and then it knows your name because you're logged into Facebook. They're like, how do they know I'm me? You know, that freaks people out. And I'm one of the guys that turns on the opt-out thing on the browser so they don't track me because, you know, I don't really like that. But customers really like personalization. So they like having their web experience customized to their past purchasing. You know, you've gone to Amazon and down the bottom, you know, you bought this, therefore you're probably going to like to buy this. Now that's a really great thing of personalization. I'll get into that in a little bit. So, where are people's online marketing dollars going these days? Well, according to this graph, most people are putting all their money into search words and keywords, Google keywords or Bing keywords and all that. Creating your website and creating a great website, you could use Siteworx. We'll help you with that. There's my second plug. I should stop plugging now. Converting traffic, social media. We talked about having a social media system where you go to your Twitter and you track it and following it. So a lot of things goes into social media. But website personalization, you know, pretty high on the list. A lot of people are actually working on it, which is good. But, you know, the website personalization doesn't really show the whole picture because there's also this behavioral advertising. And that is a lot of personalization. And I mentioned a few seconds back, of Amazon, you know, and like, you bought this, so therefore you might likely also buy this. Or people who looked at this would also be looking at that. And so you can do some behavioral sites, keeping track. Some of the sites track the different sites that you go to, and then it can use that to help predict what's going to be the best ad to serve up to you. There's a huge market in that sort of stuff. Didn't go to the next slide. There we go. Okay, so one of the reasons why would you use personalization, right? Well, obviously you want to make more money. You want to have a better return on investment, and personalization lowers your bounce rate. It really does, because when you go to the site and the site is somewhat personalized to you, to your experience, it's going to lower the bounce rate. When you go to Google, news.google.com, I'm like a news junkie, and I'm always at Google News. And I live in the Washington, D.C. area, so the local part of that is D.C. based. It's customized to experience to something that I would like. And then when I log into the same news here, it knows that I'm in Richmond, and the news is going to change, and it's going to give me Richmond-based news. Great. That's really great personalization. It engages the user and creates the experience personalized to them. So there's more that you can do. Instead of just reducing the bounce rate, what you can do is then engage the users. Once they've come to your site, you can use some information about the users, geographic information. I'm going to get to different types, but you've probably seen web ads that come up for like different things in your area, like a retailer in your area. The name would come up because based on the IP address of your server, it knows that you're living in Richmond and that there's what's a good grocery store in Richmond? I don't know Richmond very well. Anybody? Yeah. Okay. So you happen to be you're in a food website, and then an ad for that grocery store comes up to Richmond because it knows that you're in Richmond. But there's so much more that you can do. Just because you know their IP address and their location, you also know a little bit about the location itself. There's the zip code, and there's the demographic information associated with the zip code. So there's all sorts of information that you can get by proxy, by knowing one bit of information, and by combining as much of this information as possible to create this customized experience for your user, you can really maximize your return on investment of personalization. And there's the upsell, cross-sell capabilities, right? You have more information about your customers, so therefore you can try to sell them more stuff. I have, because we're working with Adobe on this user group, I have all your email addresses. So I could upsell all of you guys if I wanted to by sending you all a white paper on personalization. So there's all these other opportunities that come along with personalization to do that. I will not spam you, I promise, but I do. You have that sort of information when you're doing that. So we're talking about ROI. This is the results of some of the ROI that achieved from personalization, and you can see the blue chunk there. They got a highly effective, measurable return on investment from doing their personalization. And then the blue one, better than market response rate. That's pretty good. Now, unfortunately, in early forms of personalization, it wasn't really done really well. They didn't really have good data. So one of the largest blocks, this big black box here, was the experience could have been a lot better had we had really good personalized data. So there's lots of opportunity to do personalization better, but there's also great opportunity to optimize the web experience to your customers using personalization. Now, I sort of hinted to this slide before when I was talking about different personalization. So if you look at very, very low-level personalization, I talked about, it says, "Hi, Benett, welcome back to the site." That is very, very low level of personalization, and the impact is going to be incredibly low. And obviously, as you move higher and higher, the impact can be greater and greater. So let's talk about these different types of personalization. There's browser-based personalization, right? So right now, I'm on a Macintosh. We don't have to curse Steve Jobs, but there's PCs, and there's Firefox, Chrome. I don't like to use Internet Explorer, but everybody does. I hate that browser. Anyways, then you have a tablet device, you have an iPhone, you have a tablet, portrait, landscape, right? So optimizing the experience to that particular browser environment. That is the most basic form of personalization, because you're personalizing the experience to what device that user has. I have an example that I'm going to show a little bit of a responsive design site, because you may have heard the word responsive design. And it's a really big thing these days, but that is the extension of browser-based personalization. Make the experience the best you can given the device and browser that they're using. Now, geography. We talked about looking at something in Richmond and serving up ads that are related to the IP address and the information you can get from the IP address. Now, demographic information. A lot of people don't give up demographic information, but like I talked about before, you can get a lot of that information from proxy. You know that they're in a zip code of a lot of high net worth individuals. Like where's all the rich people live in Richmond? There's got to be like one neighborhood that, like the Beverly Hills of Richmond, right? Is there? You live in Richmond. Where do you live? Yeah, just everywhere. Okay, but if you have like a Beverly Hills zip code, right? Everybody knows Beverly Hills. You got big bucks. So just because getting that zip code in there, then you know that you can start serving, investment opportunities to them rather than cash your paycheck opportunities, right? That makes sense. And then user profile information. So, if you have a Facebook profile and you're sharing that information with the person, they've checked the things that they're interested in. And so that's really great, because you could start personalizing your content based upon the things that they've told you that they like. But the ultimate form of personalization is based upon behavior. Because do people do what they say? No. Nobody does. Well, some do sometimes. But, if you're tracking their behavior, so if you're a bank and you're looking at the different things that they buy, and they're at Starbucks every day, well, serving them something that gives them a discount at Starbucks, they're going to go for it, because you know that they go to Starbucks every day. So it's behavioral personalization. Great stuff. So I have some examples, some quick examples of the different types. So the browser-based personalization, I'm going to just quickly tab over to a responsive design site that we built. Hang on a second. Okay, so notice that as soon as I resized the browser to this particular screen, the site automatically adjusted to fit to this screen. And what I'm going to do is move over a little bit, and you can see now it adjusts to the tablet form. This one is 800 by 600, isn't it? No, 1024. It's not 1024. So let me just take a look at this site. So this is a site we're working on with DeWalt. Any of you ever like going to Home Depot and playing with the power tools? This is it. So when you're at this version of the site, this is the desktop version. That's for a desktop browser. And let me scroll down. And actually, at this resolution, it's not giving me the full one. So I'm going to skip a little bit of what I was saying. But you can see that this is since the resolution coming up to this screen is actually smaller, this is actually the tablet screen that's coming up, I believe. But the features will show, what happens is as your browser gets smaller and smaller, this site adjusts, and the amount of information that's presented to the user, you can see now all those other things that are on the bottom, they've disappeared. This is the tablet look and feel. And then as we go further and further down, now we've got to the mobile. So this is what it would look like on a phone. So doing browser-based customization is really great to optimize the experience. What we did from our research is we found that most of the people on the mobile phone, they're at Sears, they're at Home Depot, and they're trying to check the price. They want to know how much is it going to, if I buy it online. So we didn't give them all the specific details and things about it, because what they really want to know is how much is it going to cost and what's the rating of it. And then when we're on the desktop browser, maybe if I didn't have this maximized, I could get it. Oop. No. Okay. But anyway, so you can see that based upon the configuration of the browser, the content of the site actually changes. That's the key point that I was trying to make from there. Let me switch back to PowerPoint. Oops. Oh, that is there. This one screen went out, but okay. So, I talked about geographic customization, and I gave a couple examples. So this is another example. If you go to Living Social, I went to Living Social. I was in Northern Virginia when I did it, and so it automatically serves up things that are from the Northern Virginia area. If I were to pull up on my phone now, it'll give me things that are from the Richmond area. Demographic information, I talked about the different demographic information in a banking site. So the different banks would serve up different things based upon what they are. If you have a high net worth individual, like I said, then you would serve up investment opportunities. The other people, you show their banking account. Demographic profile information. This is from Geico Insurance. Well, here, the person has never used the sites. They're a first-time visitor, and let me get my mouse out of the way. So it looks like the site on the top, but once they've logged in and they've been there before, then it actually changes the content because you know what policies they have, you know what they want, and so you want to try to maximize the experience, give them what they want rather than letting them have to search and find what they really want. And then this is a great example of the behavioral customization. This is an online banking site. And you notice this person bought a lot of stuff from Amazon. And so there's an Amazon ad that gets served up right in the middle of their statement. And I don't know if you guys know, but you get 6% from anything somebody buys from an Amazon ad through you. Don't ever buy anything from Amazon directly. Just go create your own affiliate and buy it, and you get 6% discount on anything you buy from Amazon. Seriously. Okay, so personalization is not without its obstacles. A lot of people are inexperienced. They're not really sure that they're going to get a big return on investment. There's security issues, there's privacy issues. People freak out when you're on one site and it knows your name because you didn't go to another site. So you got to be really sensitive to that. People are not familiar with the technology. Maybe internally there's not a lot of support. So these are a lot of the common barriers. But the tips for success, if you want to have a good personalization, deploy it quickly and improve it over time. The better the sooner you get going, you're going to, any kind of personalization, as you saw from low to high, is going to have an impact. And then you're going to get better, and you're going to get better, and you're going to get better. And use the metrics, use the real-time analytics that were discussed before, and you're going to be able to see the results of your personalization. Search behavior is a really great way to leverage. You had a thing. Ben, right? Ben kept on talking about search. He wanted to search keywords, search keywords, search keywords. Well, those are behavior. I'm looking for something. So if you do a lot of things based upon those search keywords, it's really going to help. The key point here: allow technology to do most of the work. I mean, that's the joy of computers, is that they're doing all the work for you. So you could set up a really great rule that's going to customize, personalize the site based upon the search behaviors that are coming in, et cetera. Then it can really help. And go across multiple channels, do as much personalization as you possibly can. Find your actionable segments. Understand who your customers are and what they're doing. Discriminate between the segments using the information that you have, and use all the information that's available, including information available by proxy. It doesn't have to be direct information. There's proxy information. Because think about it. If you guess and you're right 80% of the time, that's going to be great. Then that's way better of a return on investment than just hit or miss. And you're not really going to piss off that 20% that much, because how much personalization is there? You're going to miss their hometown by 2 or 3 towns, on a geographic one. And create a different experience for each segment. I was using an example about high net worth investors and not high risk investors. There, that's a good segment. And based upon where they're coming from. And the links that they're coming in, if they're coming from a link from Scottrade or something, that they're investors. So when they come to your site, you got to play up the stock market. If they're coming from, cashyourpaycheck.com, then you know that there's someone that's struggling, so you serve up your loans and your loan modification programs or something, just because you want to use all the information that you have available to create a personalized experience. That's all I have. And if you want to learn a little bit more about personalization, I promise not to send you a white paper. I know I mentioned that at the beginning. But come and talk to Keith or myself afterwards, and we'll be happy to have any other questions. Thanks. And if anybody knows anybody that works for the Wrigley Corporation, oh, it doesn't come up. My twins. It's like, I'm trying to get my twins to be the next Doublemint girls. No. Whoops. It was on here. Oh, well. Thanks.
So hello, my name is Chau. I am a partner solution consultant, not the IT guy that Ben doesn't like. So just so we're all clear, I'm the solution consultant. I'm from Canada, as you saw earlier. A little email popped up that I'm supposed to be at an immigration meeting, which I'm not at. So don't worry, they won't kick me out until after the presentation. So I traveled down yesterday, and every time I do a presentation, especially if I have to leave the city of Ottawa, my wife always asks, why are you going? What are you presenting? And she's a museum person. She runs a museum. She knows all about artifacts and things that I know nothing about. But she always wants to know why and what's so special about what I do and what's so different. And she always brings it up during television commercials. We're watching TV, and then the commercial comes on, and right away she asks the question. That's the best time to ask me questions, right? So she was asking what I'm going to be presenting here in Virginia this week, and this commercial came out. We're actually watching Discovery. So this is a velocity.com or luminosity.com. Sorry, I already pronounced it wrong. And the thing we noticed about this is this ad was about helping people with their brains. It's kind of like Nintendo's Brain Age or Wii's Big Brain Academy. So I pointed to this, and this is a commercial. Notice it is on the Discovery Channel, so it is targeting certain people when this ad came on. So it is chosen for this spot. It did not show up when Homer Simpson's eating donuts or Beavis and Butthead. They chose the Discovery Channel on purpose for this. So I said to my wife, we had our iPad next to us, we should go look this up. By the time we got to the iPad, we actually forgot the name Luminosity. So we couldn't actually remember what it was. So we typed in brain training. So on my iPad, we typed in brain training, and look, first thing that came up was the sponsored ads. And it doesn't show up very well here, but the sponsored ads for Luminosity came up as the first ad. And it also showed up in the second position as part of the natural or so-called natural search. So me and wife goes, oh, that's kind of cool. So you do stuff like that? I said, sort of. We do stuff like that. We help customers do things like that. So then the next morning I said, you want to try out this Luminosity, play with it, see if you like it. Maybe, we can get better at names so we can remember Luminosity next time when we watch a commercial. So we went and got on our computer, the family computer, and signed on to Luminosity. We saw that there's a free trial. So we signed up, did our playing of the games and things like that. And then we were done. We were kind of bored. So we went to MSNBC, and the first thing I noticed on the top corner there is the ad for Luminosity. It's already starting to follow us. And I said to my wife, did you see that ad there? And she goes, yeah, but ads always show up. Not a problem. Never happen. It's a coincidence. So we went on to CNN. Oh, look, another ad for Luminosity. She goes, this is getting weird. How is it following us? And she goes, we'll ignore it. She gets onto Facebook or my Facebook account, and we noticed that one of our friends was a Luminosity fan of Luminosity, and a sponsored ad shows up, and my wife clicks on it and brings them to the Luminosity fan page. And it was like, ooh, this is getting really weird, she says. So we clicked on a few things on their play. We noticed they had a little contest, and my wife goes, "Ooh, I can win an iPad," and she was going to fill out this and write her own thing and hope to win that iPad so she won't use mine anymore. In about a couple of weeks, we get an email. Well, I get an email, and it's from Luminosity, offering me 25% off on a subscription. Showed it to my wife, and she goes, "This is really strange. Do you think they know who we are?" And I said, "I think so, or else they're really good at targeting me without any information on us." So this is basically what I told her we're due, and she wanted me to help her with her job now, but that's besides the point. She has to show me the money, or else we won't do anything. So before I start my demo today, we're going to meet two people. I know a lot of people here are CQ people, so they probably know these two personas that we're going to introduce, or at least the names of these people. The first person we're going to introduce you to is the digital marketer. Our digital marketer is John Jacobs. So you've probably seen him many times in the geometric finance. He probably likes snowboarding or something. I can't remember what he likes in geometrics outdoors. John Jacobs works for a company called Geometric Finance. Geometric Finance, like many financial institutions like Genworth Financial, is basically trying to target their new audiences, particularly the millennials, the Gen Ys. They know those are the big money earners in the future. These are the people that you want to attract to your financial institution now, and then they will grow your accounts. Because currently you got the baby boomers, the Gen X, they're at the max. You really need to target the future, and they have the biggest potential earnings. So they base everything on analytics. They use analytics. They compete on analytics with other financial institutions. They read everything about Moneyball, so they really believe analytics is the way to go. So they use Adobe's digital marketing suite. They do fingerprinting. They fingerprint every person that comes to their site. They do that scary thing, making sure they know who you are, and when you surf off that site, they're targeting you throughout the whole experience. So they're fingerprinting every person that's coming through and tracking them and using it to their marketing. Social is very important to them. They want to make sure the Gen Y's social is where they live, 7/24 or 24/7. That's where they spend their time. So we want to make sure Geometric Finance markets in that space. Video on demand and things like that are very important. Gen Y, 24/7, has a smartphone, a tablet, a laptop. They are constantly streaming videos, streaming movies to their phones, watching YouTube, watching everything. This is why that we're on LTE networks now. Fill the pipe, as the joke always says. Every provider of services wants to fill that pipe so they can create more money. And XTV Media is one of those leading edge media companies that provide that kind of service. Geometric Finance also leverages email remarketing. Email marketing is important. As Benett mentioned, he's going to send a white paper to everybody. Well, same idea. Geometric Finance wants to make sure if you came to the site, gave me your email address, we can use it and retarget you and try to help you solve your needs and give you information about Geometric Finance. Facebook apps, or any apps in general. Apps are very important. There's a commercial in Canada from Future Shop. One of the sayings they say on there is, likes are better than hugs. Facebook created likes, so likes are very important. Our next persona we're going to meet is the prospective client. She's 23. Her name's Allison Parker. She is a millennial baby. She is young. She is connected 24/7. She likes XTV Media. She spends a lot of time on Facebook. And being a Gen Yer, she likes the Bandera brothers. Bandera brothers do a lot of commercials and things like that. They're actually real. So they do a ton of commercials. And just recently on XTV Media, they released a new video for the Hot Wheels. It's a Hot Wheels car video. So she decides this is the video she wants to see. So this is where our journey in this demo will start. So wish me luck. Let's see if this works. Oops. Okay, refresh. So this is the XTV Media site. This, for the people in the room that know CQ, this is actually running on CQ. So, but for this case, this is a website where geometric finance markets on. So right at the top here is login with Facebook. So this is an offering. So as XTV Media expands their profiles, they're actually tying in Facebook information to target and provide the best experience. So I'm going to sign in, and just like most Facebook apps and Facebook link, we'll actually have a disclosure or agreement to share certain pieces of information. You can't see it very clearly because of the resolution, but it's sharing gender information, birthday, and some other pieces of information with XTV Media. I'm going to allow it to happen. So now I'm allowed, everything's great, and it also shows me welcome Allison Park at the top. I'm going to click over to the Hot Wheels video because that was why we were here. So I'm just going to scroll through these. Here's my Hot Wheel, and I'm going to watch this video. Notice right here, this ad from Geometric Finance shows up because we know that it's Allison Parker signed in. We know she is a target audience for Geometric Finance. So we have placed this ad right here. So it says receive $50 back for opening an account. So we click on open account. Allison Parker clicks on it. It brings her to a landing page, provides the same information, same graphics, but with a little more details. She goes, this looks good. I'm interested. I need a new banking account anyway, so I'll look at this geo checking account. She clicks on open account. It takes her right into the Geometric Finance page to filling out a form. And like most web signups, you want to make sure you capture certain information in the shortest number of screens possible so the person can commit to opening this account. You don't want to lose them by giving them a 60-page steps or lots of steps and lots of information. One thing that you could see that Geometric Finance done right away is capture the email address and their name on the first page of this form. So Allison Parker checks this box saying I accept the terms electronic communication, which is typically what shows up with any email. She fills that out. She fills out some of the social security and things like that. She goes to the next step. This is step 3. At step 3, this is where she puts in her username, password, and information like that. Also, this is where all the terms are for this new checking account that she's opening. She notices certain terms. Let's see if I can scroll in a little. There's a monthly fee of $10 and the interest rate is 0.85. Like most forms that customers fill out, at this point, this is like the submit button. This is the place where most of your customers will drop off in retail, financial, anything. And guess what? Allison Parker drops out of here too because she is not very happy with these terms, so she decides she's going to close her browser. So that is closed now. We're going to go see John Jacobs. John Jacobs is in charge of the campaign for this new geo checking account. So as part of this campaign, he tagged every page of that form so that he knows how many visitors come in, how many people move to the next step of that form. So he's created a special report inside Catalyst, and here's the report. Let's see if I can make this a little bigger. Here we go. So he notices from step 1 to step 2, 90% of the people continue. Step 2 to step 3, about 91% still continues. Nobody has dropped out. But when we get to step 3 to step 4, he loses 44% of his customers or potential customers. This is where people are dropping out. He works with his team and tries to figure out what is so special about this step 3 that most of the customers are falling out. He notices the terms were there. It could be a term problem. It could be the monthly fee. It could be the interest rate is too low. It just happened at that same time Geometric Finance is starting a new account called the Smart Account. They're going to create a higher interest rate, 0 monthly fee account. Since John Jacobs and his market team already has all these email addresses from step 1, he has about that 44% of lost customers, potential customers. He have all those email addresses. So he decides to create a campaign to send out to them. But he still doesn't know why people are dropping out, if it was the monthly fee or the percentage, the interest rate. So he creates a test and target campaign to target these customers. And they're part of the Smart Account campaign. So depending on randomly through segmentation and random testing, they're going to send out 2 different offers. 1, 2, you could receive one or the other. You could get $0 monthly fee. So this is the first offer campaign in test and target, and this is your second offer, the 3.1%. So in a week or so, Allison Parker receives an email from Geometric Finance about this smart account. She receives the 3.1% one. As you can see, it has that name that's not really great for customization, but here's the personalization. It says, "Hello, Allison," here. Allison Parker says, "This looks interesting. They have come back to me. They're offering me something different. Why not? Let's look at it." So she hits the find out more, takes it to the Geometric Finance landing page, and there it is again, the 3.1, same assets that we saw, digital assets. It looks exactly the same as what she saw in her email, expanded out a little and provide some more detail, but it's the same image, the same text. She says, "Let's go ahead and open this account." So she opens her account. It takes her back into a form that she has to fill out. Again, it's 4 steps, just like before, nice and simple, how you want to capture your audience, and it basically lays out the same way. So I'm going to fill this out and get to step 3, because we know step 3 is where the terms are. So here's the terms for the agreement. There's the monthly fee of 0 and interest rate of 3.1% as advertised. She goes, "This is good. I'm going to accept the terms and submit this." She submits it, and congratulations, it's opened. Her account will be opened, and an email will be sent to her. I noticed this doesn't look very nice there, but that's okay. Let's see if I can fix that slightly. There you go. She gets this little Facebook like and the follow. She decides to like it. As you can see, I clicked it already since I demoed that yesterday. But she clicks the like, and she sees that, oh, look, there's the Facebook site for Geometric Finance. She decides, this is cool. Let me go check it out. She goes into Geometric Finance, and this is the Geometric Finance Facebook page. So the internet connection's working. This is the live page out there, and there's Allison Parker up there at the top. And she decides to write something on the wall just to tell Geometric Finance that she loves them. Geometric Finance, I like your service. She hits share. So this is actually posted right to the Geometric Finance screens. She also noticed there's a little quiz. Just like most people love the quizzes, like my wife, maybe she can win something, an iPad or a new iPhone 5. So she goes, "Ooh, risk tolerance questions." She's thinking of investment, so she hits enter, and there's the investment questions. So the first question we're going to zoom in on is rank your comfort level investments in stocks, no experience in mutual fund investment, somewhat comfortable, and comfortable. Notice it's at stock markets and there's mutual funds there. Oops, John's team messed up a little. They really should fix that. So I'm going to be John again. We're going back. We're going into the Adobe Social product. This is I think it's in beta and will launch shortly. This is the dashboard. It's very similar to what you see in Site Catalyst. So this is the home page. It shows you the number of Twitter mentions, Facebook mentions, and other things. It provides you your campaign, click-through to page views, how many click-throughs brought you to page views. But what we're interested in is a couple of things. We know that Allison Parker wrote on the wall, and we know that John Jacobs' team had a typo in their quiz. So what we're going to do is use Adobe Social to fix those problems or like those things. So first we're going to do is engage Facebook moderation. Facebook moderation allows a marketer access to all their Facebook pages. Certain companies can have hundreds or thousands of pages they have to manage at any given time. People could be writing constantly to those walls, and they have to route and escalate certain things. It could be bad customer service, or it could be I like you, and you want to make sure you promote those and send them out. So we're going to the Geometric Finance moderation page. So you notice there's 2 separate sites. There it is, Geometric Finance, I like your service, and it was posted today at 4:25. We're going to reply to this actually. Let's see if we can reply, and you could say thank you, Allison, and post a reply. And now it's actually contacting Facebook and updating that reply. So if I go back to Facebook now and go to Geometric's Finance page and scroll down, here's a comment right down there, and it says, thank you, Allison. So I went from Adobe Social and updated this without actually having to log into Facebook via my accounts and manage that. John Jacobs' team also has a typo in that app that you saw earlier. So under applications, you can find all the apps you build. And the way we build apps in Adobe Social is through templates. You're not actually coding HTML. This is controlled by a marketer. We're not asking developers to build these apps. So this is the quiz that you saw earlier. So I'm going to open it up. So it's based on a couple of what we call forms. And it's based on some templates we built. So I'm going to double click this, expand that out. So the first screen was, do you want to enter the quiz? And then next is the form. I'm going to double click on the form. And this was what you saw earlier. And here's the quiz questions right down here. And there's the mutual fund. That was the typo right there. So as a marketer, I can fix this quiz right away. Stock investment. And I'm going to zoom this back out. I'm going to save it. I'm going to update it. The minute I updated it, this is updating Facebook. Facebook has now been updated. So when Allison Parker comes back and hits that risk tolerance button, she gets that quiz again. It now has changed. As you can see, no experience in stock investments. No developer touched that, just the marketer. And that marketer made that change within seconds, as you saw. So they didn't have to recompile it, call a developer, roll it back out, put it into Facebook. It was all done through Adobe Social. Other things Adobe Social will allow you to do is, of course, do your standard, let me just close this out, engaging. So we're able to answer and reply, but we also can post out there. So you could post to Facebook, and here's a sample of it. You can post images, videos, text. You can decide who you want to target with what you want to post. So you can customize this to certain segments that you define in different cities, different languages, different countries. You could schedule when to post this. It doesn't have to be now. It could be scheduled out for next week, next month. So you could schedule your campaigns based on that. You can have a notification if this gets posted that you send it to the person so that they know these posts have gone out. Now, these will all go out to people that are fans of your page. But you can also pay for sponsored ads, just like Lumosity paid for sponsored ads to show up on my Facebook page or my wife's Facebook page. So you can also say pay posts. So these posts, you can bid on it through impressions and clicks. Same idea as regular posts. So that will show up on the fans pages, your fans' friends pages. And the last thing for Site Callus people, you can tag it. You can create a tag. So for each of these posts on your wall, anytime someone clicks it, a Site Callus campaign has triggered and a trigger has occurred so that you can track how successful your social campaign is. Any post that you create. So that's the demo part. One of the things I was asked to do, because demos are great, but at the end of a demo, you're going, so Adobe does all this, but what is really doing all this? So I'm going to do a little behind the scenes. Just to quickly go through what you saw. First thing you saw was what we call display ad targeting. So on the XTV media site, in that corner there was an ad that says receive $50 off. So that is us targeting users based on certain pieces of information and certain rules. So we're leveraging AdLens, it's formerly Efficient Frontier, to bid on certain things, determine how much money you should spend on different marketing campaigns. Should you spend it on social? Should you spend it on display ads? How much should you spend on each? So AdLens is helping them determine where they should spend the money based on historical information and predictive modeling, where it would be the best spent. We're leveraging test and target to display that ad. What you saw was the $50, but in real life, there's actually 4 different displays that was there. It just happens in this case, we saw the $50 one with the female. So we also have the 2 male versions, the $0 monthly fee and the $50, and there's a female version. So we're actually changing those ads dynamically based on segmentation. So we could be segmenting you based on male, female, or based on certain other aspects. We're leveraging Audience Manager in this solution. Audience Manager allows us to take second and third party information to create this new segment. So we're using information maybe from Blue Kai or from XTV Media in a second party scenario where we're using that information they have on you also because you signed into Facebook at that point. So some of that information is now has at XTV Media site. So we're using all that combination to determine what we should present there. And then lastly, we're using Scene 7 as a creative. I'm not a creative, but if I was talking to a creative, I don't know if there are any creative people in this room, that's 4 separate ads there. I don't think a creative would want to maintain 4 separate assets. They would like to maintain one asset, but with different layers that turn on based on what you want to show, because realistically, they look exactly the same. So what we allow with Scene 7 is allows you that capability for a URL, deciding what should show up there. If you want the dynamic text or an image change, you can do that through our Scene 7 servers. So this is our display ad targeting. Next thing you saw was what we call web experience management. As we were going through, notice I kind of pointed out subtly, but first we saw the $50 ad in the display. Then we went to a landing page that showed $50, and then when we were filling out the form, it showed receive $50 again. And then when we were email retarget, we showed 3.1, 3.1, 3.1. This is web experience management. You don't want to change that experience, even though we had 4 different offers. In theory, the potential client's already there. We could have swapped out different images, and it would have been great. It would have worked. But we want to make sure it's consistent. For this, might not be as a big deal, but certain other things, you want to make sure the user, as they're going through to completion, you want to give them the same experience, same offer, especially if you're a retailer. You're giving free shipping. You don't want to show free shipping on the first screen and not show it on the final screen. So this is more subtle, but it's showing you the exact experience. And this is leveraging SiteCal's Test and Target, CQ, and Scene 7 across. So as you know, both of these, the Geometric Finance site and are all in CQ, so those were all CQ sites that we were using to display all that. Next was email retargeting. So we had that fallout report that showed at step 3, we lost about 45% of the customers. So John Jacobs decided, using his analytics and also analyzing what is in step 3, determined that it was the terms and conditions that potentially was the reason that caused the fallout. So he, using Test and Target, created a new campaign using Smart Account. And then getting the email address off step 1, he retargeted them using integrations with email providers like Silverpop, ExactTarget. And then with the Genesis integration to these email providers, we can actually pull back information from them and link them back to your SiteCal's report to show the success rate of these campaigns, how many people opened them, how many were sent out, so you can leverage that. Next area is called social marketing. I've broken it up in 2 parts. The first part is acquisition, acquiring fans, acquiring people to like you, acquiring people to you. We're leveraging what we call CQ's new social connect or social plugin components. These are right now live, and you can download them onto your site. It provides the Facebook activity, the login to Facebook. It provides the integration to Facebook apps, so you can create an app and then allow them to log in. You can create the face piles and things like that, the Twitter streams that you want to put on your website. Currently, out of the box, we have Facebook and Twitter, but we have created some integrations with Foursquare, LinkedIn, RenRen, and some other ones. They all use the OAuth authentication process. So we already built the OAuth framework inside CQ5. So if you have another system you want to sign into, you can leverage. I know that's the technical part, but if you're interested, there is options there. Especially for financial institutions, you might not be liking Facebook or Twitter. You probably want to use something more sophisticated. And the last part is from the social marketing side. We're doing publishing and engaging. So I showed you how you can publish onto the walls, and we also looked at apps, and we also showed you how I commented on live, real-time, the Facebook pages. So we're using Adobe Social, SiteCal to track those campaigns as we do posts, and AdLens, because AdLens, again, determines how much you should be spending. Should you be spending 50% of your budget on social or 20% based on historical information and success rates of your campaigns? It determines the optimal spend for you. So that's basically my presentation. So I'm going to pass it back to Heather. And